Hi everybody, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday with me, Laura, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this mini sunflower. Okay, so for this tutorial we're going to need two colours really, a brown colour and a yellow colour as well. Now these are I think they're slightly different weights actually. I think this is slightly thinner, so it really doesn't matter what yarn you use. So you can use a DK light worsted weight yarn that's yarn weight of 3, or a slightly thinner yarn, or mix them up. It's entirely up to you. You can use up those scraps. And with that we're going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook. You can use any crochet hook that you like. We'll just make a different size flower. And you're going to need a pair of scissors and a yarn tapestry needle as well. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take our brown yarn and we are going to chain 4. We're going to do a chain 4 loop. So do our little slip knot. You can swap the chain 4 loop for the magic circle if you prefer. So we're just going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So chain 4. I'm going to put our hook into our first chain, just there. Bring the yarn through the first chain and bring it straight through the loop on your hook to do a slip stitch. That creates a little loop joined at the beginning and the end. In the middle is a little hole. Like I always say, don't confuse it with your first chain hole that can look really big. It's very easy to end up working into there. You need to work into that center hole, which can be a little bit more difficult to see. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little chain 1 to begin. Then we're going to put our hook into the center of that loop, so not the big chain 1, just below that big hole, chain 1 hole. We're going to put our hook into the middle, bring the yarn through the middle, should make it easier to see that hole now. Then just wrapping it around the chain, we're going to do a single crochet. Now this pattern's in US terminology, so in UK terminology that would be a double crochet. So we want 6 of these, so that's the first one. We're going to go back into the center again and do another single crochet. 2, we want 6. So the hole gets a bit easier to see the more stitches you work in. 3. I'm just wrapping this tail end in as well. I'm working around that as well. Sewing it at the end. 4. 5. And one more, 6. So we've got 6 single crochet in that 4 chain loop. Then what you want to do is we're just going to pull this tail end, and if you worked into the middle that hole should come in just a little bit. And we're going to find our first single crochet that we did. You can always count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to put our hook into that first single crochet stitch, going under 2 little bits of yarn through that stitch. Then bring the yarn through there and then straight through the loop on your hook to do a slip stitch. So by the end of that round you should have a stitch count of 6. Okay, and then we're going to move on to our yellows. We're going to get our yellow yarn, and instead of yarning over with the brown, we're going to drape our yarn over our hook. I'm just going to hold it with my finger. I'm going to bring that through our little loop there. Just going to pull our tail ends just to secure that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into the same stitch we just slip stitched into and do a slip stitch. So we're going to go back into there, that first single crochet we just slip stitched into, and do a slip stitch. So bring the yarn through and then straight through the loop on your hook. Okay, to do a little slip stitch. Then what we're going to do is we're going to create our little petal. Now to do that we're going to chain 6. So I'm going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I've chained 6 in my yellow. And then what we want to do is we want to work into our second stitch from our hook. So we don't count the loop on our hook. There's our first one, there's our second chain. So we're going to put our hook into that second one, as neatly as you can, and we're going to do a little slip stitch. So bring the yarn through the chain and then straight through the loop on your hook. Okay, let's do a little slip stitch. Then in the next chain along, the next one, we're going to do a single crochet. Single crochet. Then in the next stitch along, we're going to do a half double crochet, or in UK terminology it would be a half treble. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, then we yarn over, pull through all 3 loops to do half double crochet. Then in the next stitch, a single crochet, and then in the last stitch we're going to do, should have 1 chain left, I'm going to do a little slip stitch. Okay, oops, and I lost my stitch there. See if I can rescue that. There we go. And then what we want to do is we want to slip stitch into the same first single crochet that we slip stitched into at the very beginning. So we want to go back into there, so that's at the base of our chains, back into there and do a little slip stitch. And there we go, that's our first petal. And we're going to repeat that. We're going to do 2 of these into each stitch around, so we end up with 12 petals. So what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's exactly the same thing. We need to find our second chain from hook, so don't count the loop. There's our first, there's our second. Put your hook into there and do a slip stitch. Then the next chain we do a single crochet. Next chain, a half double crochet. Next chain, single crochet. And then the last chain, a slip stitch. I've got quite a small one there. Slip stitch. Okay, then we want to slip stitch in that same first single crochet, all again in there. So there's a lot of slip stitching into that. I think it's at about 4. There we go. So there's our first 2 petals in our first stitch. Then what we want to do is move on to our next stitch. So we're going to go straight over into our next stitch, our second one, and do a slip stitch. Then we're going to repeat the same pattern here twice. So we want 2 petals in this next stitch. So we chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slip stitch in that second stitch from hook. Oh, it's gone a bit funny. Let's just go with it. Single crochet in the next stitch. So you're building up in stitch size. Then next stitch, a half double crochet. Next stitch, a single crochet. Then the last chain, a slip stitch. Okay. Then we want to slip stitch into the stitch below, this second one that we moved over to. So you see we did that slip stitch there and we moved over. I'm going to go back into there, that's at the bottom of our chains, and do a slip stitch into there. Okay. And then we do another petal in the same stitch. So we chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then our second stitch, 1, 2, we do a slip stitch. Next chain, we do a single crochet. Next chain, we do a half double crochet. Next chain, a single crochet. And hopefully you've remembered it by now. The last one, a slip stitch. Okay, so this is our second petal for this stitch, but we slip stitch in that same stitch again at the bottom of our chains. We don't move over yet. Okay, so we've done 2 petals in that stitch. Then we're going to move over to our 3rd stitch with a slip stitch and repeat that again. We do 2 more stitches, 2 more petals in the next one. We just repeat that all the way around until we end up with 12 petals and 2 petals in each stitch. We end up with 12 petals. Okay, so once you've slip stitched over to the next stitch, don't forget to do that, just make the next petals. So that's all you need to do. So I shall repeat that all the way around and then just come back and show you the finished flower, really. It's that simple. Just remember to slip stitch in the right places. So single crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, oops, slip stitch in the last one. Then you slip stitch in the same stitch below, that 3rd one now, and then do another petal, chain 6. Okay, and when you've finished your 2nd petal, remember to do that slip stitch in the same stitch before you move over. So slip stitch in there to complete that set of petals, and then move over to your next stitch with a slip stitch and carry on. Okay, so I shall do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm just finishing my last petal, my 12th petal, and we need to remember to slip stitch in the same stitch to complete that set. Now it looks like there's 1 more stitch there. That's what I call a fake stitch. Now you could add 2 more petals if you wanted to. It really is not going to affect the pattern, but I'm going to skip that little fake stitch because I've got my 12. You should have 12 petals in total, 2 in each of those 6 stitches. And what I want to do is find the stitch where these first 2 petals are coming from, put my hook into there, bring the yarn through and do a little slip stitch like so to finish the round. Then I'm going to cut my yarn, cut both colours, bring the little, pull the yarn through. I seem to have added fluff. I have no idea where that's come from. Then I'm going to take the tail end and sew through that first stitch where those first 2 petals are coming from, the one we just slip stitched into. Put my needle in there now and just pull that close. And if your brown is still showing a little bit there, you just need to pull your tail ends to hide that. And then just sew your tail ends. To do that, all you need to do is just sew through similar colours in one direction and then go back in the opposite direction, like so. And then you can trim them down if you want to. I might actually leave mine. I'm just going to tie these in a knot, the brown ones, because I'm going to cut these. I might leave the other ones for tying onto something. Gives you the option. So I'm going to just knot the brown ones though, so I don't want to keep those. Just trim those down. So they'll be hidden when I tie it onto something. And there we go. There is our finished little, that brown's still showing. You have to do a better job than me. I'll show you the better one, this one here. But there you go, there's the completed mini sunflower. And you can block these if you want to make them less curly. Just pin these petals in place, then dampen your project, let it dry, pinned in place, and then it should keep its shape much better. But there we go, it's a little mini sunflower. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you managed to follow along. But I'm going to show you a little project, a crochet along, a cowl that I'm going to be doing in the autumn to the run up to Christmas. Can we believe we're thinking about Christmas? But I have been, and here is what I shall be doing. So hello, this is my little amigurumi doll called Daisy, and it's going to be a crochet along. She's still missing some shoes. I'm still working on other various bits and bobs, but she's going to have a dress that you can take off, completely take off. She's got, excuse me Daisy, little knickers and some socks. She'll have some shoes and other accessories as well. She's got a little cardigan, and I'm going to be showing you how to create these very lifelike eyes, how to sew these. I'm going to show you how to make the main body, all the clothes, how to do little bows, how to do special doll's hair in my crochet along. So if you want to keep updated on when my crochet along is going to come out, then just head to my Instagram. So just look for Happy Berry Crochet on my Instagram. I'll put a link in the description below and over this video, and also check out my Facebook page as well, facebook.com/happyberrycrochet, and you'll all be updated as to when the first episode will come out, and there will be video tutorials as well. Yay! So I will see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye!